my ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond.
My ducks, my swans, welcome to the pond. Welcome back to 82 Points of View. I forget what episode we're on, so this is probably going to be the first time that I don't announce the episode because it's starting to get to the point where it really doesn't matter anymore. But today is January 27th, 2020, so it's a Monday. And January 26th, 2020 is going to be remembered as one of the most devastating days for millennials. Absolutely a devastating day for sports fans and anybody who was born in the 80s and had anything to do with pop culture, whether it's hip-hop or sports, specifically basketball, because today, well, essentially yesterday, Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. Him, his 13-year-old daughter, one of her teammates, both her parents, a pilot, and other people that haven't been named yet. And this isn't a news podcast. This isn't really a sports podcast. It's a business podcast, but it's starting to really just become about me and how I feel about a lot of things. And I hope y'all enjoy. That's why y'all listen. If not, click off, bitch. But in my lifetime, I have never been more hurt by people I didn't know than I was today. And that's because Kobe came into the NBA in 1996. And as y'all know, I coach college basketball, so I've been to basketball my entire life. And with that, Kobe came to the NBA out of high school. I remember when he declared for the draft, he announced it in his high school gymnasium. He had the bald head. He had the Oakley shades on top of his bald head. And he took Brandy to prom. It was a really big deal for a kid that was smart, that was good looking, that was a guard, that was going to come out of high school and go into the NBA. It was a very, very big deal because up to that point, the only people that came out of high school was Moses Malone, Sean Kemp, and Kevin Garnett in 1995, the year before. And so this is a big deal. And when Kobe came into the league, he was 17 years old. He was extremely young because he graduated high school early, like I did. Y'all know I be sweating, so it is what it is. But Kobe has been a part of my life since 1996. I mean, when he got drafted by Charlotte, got traded to the Lakers, and just seeing him sit the bench behind Eddie Jones, who was an all-star, behind Nick Van Exel, who was an all-star, and they eventually got Shaq. You saw him make the all-star game as a six-man. Kobe was a six-man on the Lakers. He came off the bench on the Lakers and got voted into the all-star game, I want to say his third year, because the fans rocked with him so much. And then to see him and Shaq become one of the most dynamic duos of all time, beat the Pacers in the 2000 NBA Finals, the only NBA Finals that I've been to ever. My first NBA Finals that I got to see in person, and to see Kobe play in person, see Shaq play in person, and to see him go out on his own. He went through that whole rape case situation. To see him just start killing the league and become one of the greatest scorers of all time, even though they couldn't make the playoffs, he demanded a trade. He asked him for some help. They got Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, Lamar Odom, Derek Fisher came back from Utah. See him win those last two rings, and then to see him become more transparent in the media, to see him start executing his basketball IQ and talking about the game in a way we had never heard anyone talk about basketball, to see him be open and to see that this dude had other interests besides basketball, and he transitioned out and he retired. 20 years with the Lakers, the longest anybody had been on one team. I think him and Dirk got the record together, and he started a company. This is a business podcast where he was a publisher, he was a production house, and he was making animated shorts and books, and he won an Oscar. This man has 5 NBA championships. He's an NBA MVP, and he won an Academy Award. And then he opens up the Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks, California. I used to live in Thousand Oaks, California, and he does that because he has 4 daughters. His oldest daughter, Gigi, Mamba Sita, well, her nickname was Mamba, which is Kobe's Sita. He starts coaching their team, having them run a triangle offense. He's texting Phil Jackson, his coach of the 5 championships with the Lakers, about the triangle offense and sending them clips and going back and forth with it. And to just hear him talk now, because he's been doing this interview circuit for a long time. And I'm talking about it like it's present tense because it still really hasn't hit me all the way yet. He was doing this interview circuit for a long time. And in the interview circuit, he was very transparent and open about everything he was doing. And it showed you insight and like, man, like, not only is he one of the most accomplished basketball players and one of the greatest basketball players of all time, this man is going to do a lot of stuff where he's going to be remembered like a Walt Disney or a Steve Jobs or somebody like that. And at 41 years old, doing what he normally does because of LA traffic, and he lives in Orange County, and the facility is in Thousand Oaks, he flies to the facility with his daughter and one of her teammates and their parents, and they pass away. And at first, I didn't believe it because it was broken by TMZ, and I fucking hate TMZ, but I do give them credit; they are pretty accurate. I just didn't believe it, and I was like, it just was so sudden because it was broken by TMZ, and then it was the only clip you could find was some like New Zealand news outlet that was reporting about it. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. And then also the denial comes in, like, yo, there's no way, like, come on, like Kobe, like. Doesn't make any sense. The likelihood that Kobe Bryant would die. Not he got hurt. Not he's injured. He died. Like, come on. No. And then that stuff started rolling out. ESPN and CBS finally reported after I was watching games for like 20, 30 minutes. They didn't want to say nothing. It just, me and all my friends, man, like, you unite with your male friends over sports. And we were just devastated because we're all fathers now, and a lot of us have girls, and to just imagine that situation, to be in the plane with your daughter, and this is it. And for Kobe's wife, Vanessa, she lost a husband, she lost her oldest baby, the 3 daughters, they lost their sister, they lost their dad. The youngest daughter is born June 20th, 2019. My daughter, Nova, is born June 17th, 2019. So my lady and Vanessa were pregnant the entire time together. And their birthdays are 3 days apart, literally. And I was just seeing how Nova was reacting to me and her mom. Because we were emotional. Like, we were crying on and off and stuff, and having these conversations, and there would be silence. Because it was just a very heavy thing that neither one of us could comprehend. And Nova, she's a baby. She's 7 months. And so, like, she's just being her. I'm hungry. Like, I want to play. I want to lay on you. I'm laughing. She's smiling. She doesn't understand the levity of the situation. And I'm thinking, like, their daughter's doing the exact same thing. Kobe's youngest daughter doesn't understand, doesn't comprehend. And she won't get to know her dad like the other 3 have, nor will she get to know her sister. And when anybody that's had parents die, I haven't, but I've been involved with a lot of people that have had their parents die or had conversations with them. It's something that you never get over. And when you have a parent or something tragic like this happen, it's like there was a boat situation, I think last year, there was like one of those duck boats, no pun intended, and I don't want anything associated with this. It like flipped over, and there was a big family on there, and almost everybody drowned except for like 2 people. One of the 2 people who didn't drown, I went to college with her. She was like one of the most pleasant people you ever meet. And I'm not just saying that because she was in the tragedy. Like, she was a very nice, like, sweet person. Like, you know how, like, they say that about people, but then people be, like, talking shit about motherfuckers. She didn't do that. Even if it, and, in college, everybody joning on each other. So even if, like, people were joning on each other, she wouldn't even chime in. She might laugh a little bit, because stuff might be funny. If 8 people are laughing, you're going to laugh. But she was just the sweetest person. And she's still alive. But she lost damn near her entire family, kids and everything, in that duck boat accident. And so when these tragic things happen, it's like a big story, but then it becomes very private. It becomes very private for that family, right? For Kobe's 3 daughters and Vanessa, it's never going to be private, ever. Like, everyone in the world is going to know where they were when they heard that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. And they're going to want to tell, people are stupid. They're going to want to tell the daughters about what their dad meant to them. Like, it's not about you, but what their dad meant to them and how they felt and the condolences. And so his 7-month-old is going to have to grow up with that. That's going to be her legacy of her father, this monumental, massive giant of a human from the sports realm and the business realm, whose legacy is going to live on forever, whose highlight is going to live on forever, whose interview is going to live on forever. I can't believe this dude's dead, man. This is crazy. That stuff's going to live on forever, and they have to deal with that. That's stuff people don't really think about, like when people pass away, is the family dynamic. People think about the family dynamic shifts, but growing up with that, you never heal that, never get over that. Like, Kobe's fame might be of detriment to his 3 girls, and that's no fault of his own. That's no fault of Vanessa's. That's no fault of Kobe's parents. Kobe worked hard, and that's the thing people loved about him, the Mamba mentality. Kobe worked extremely hard, and because of that, like, his daughters are going to have to live with this ghost, literally. Because people are so attracted to that ghost, they're going to want to give insight about what that ghost meant to them. So if anybody's listening to this and you ever meet Kobe's kids, his 3 girls, don't treat them like humans. Treat them like normal people. Like, don't tell them about their dad. Don't tell them about what their dad meant to you. I don't know them like that, but I would assume they really don't give a fuck, especially as they get older, because so many people are going to be telling them that. So if you ever meet them, you come across them, treat them for who they are. It's just a very tragic day. Also, the thing about when things like this happen is the reactions that everybody experiences the same thing at the same time. It's one of the beauties of social media. Like, when stuff like this happens, we all get to experience it at the exact same time. And so you get these visceral reactions. And in sports, it's the best reality show that there is. Cameras are always around. People are very transparent. And to see all these people like Doc Rivers, Tim Duncan, Bradley Beal, Trae Young, Jay Williams, Jalen Rose, Stephen A. Smith, Jerry West, Greg Popovich, all these people that I've been seeing for a while, besides the young guys, but I've been growing up and seeing for a while, Vince Carter, and to LeBron, to see their reactions, their human reactions. I've never seen that happen in sports, ever. I've never seen a person who died in sports, and even the journalists, when they come on air, and it's 8, 9, 10 hours later after the fact, you can tell that they've been crying all day. I've never seen that from all walks of life. Like, it wasn't a political thing. It wasn't like a team thing. This was Kobe Bryant. Like, somebody we thought would get old like Bill Russell, right? Who we would see these things about, and we're just, his chapter's done. And it was a hell of a chapter, man. It was a hell of a chapter. Kevin Hart just gave a speech at the Rock Nation brunch, and he was talking about, what do you want your next chapter to be? And I mean, it's the irony that the next day Kobe's chapter ended, and as he was working on what he wanted to be remembered for outside of basketball, it made me too, like, I had meetings scheduled today. And one was at 2:30. I found out about Kobe probably about 1:30 or something. I just was not in the frame of mind to do it. And I'm usually one of these people that, like, I can get through that stuff, especially if I don't know the person. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I kept thinking about his daughter and his daughters. I just couldn't do it. And so canceled that meeting. I had another meeting at 4, which I had to do, which it helped. But then I came back downstairs and was thrusted right back into, like, the environment of Kobe's no longer here, and to see, like, now people are really giving their reactions and all the NBA tributes and everything. It was just surreal, man. It was just absolutely surreal. And I don't wish this on anybody. I don't wish anybody would go through this. Obviously, I'm not a part of Kobe's family, so it's not anything that has to do with me. But when you are a person who grew up loving basketball, these people become a part of your identity. Like the only young black players, the only young black people that you see all the time that you can identify with are the ones who play sports or rap. It's how it is. It's absolutely real. Those are the only people who you can truly identify with. And so when you see somebody like Kobe who grew up from age 16 all the way to, what was he, 41? Like I saw his whole life. And you feel like it's a family member. You feel like it's a cousin. You feel like, every spring the Lakers were playing. Like for me, it was year round because of the basketball. But I knew every spring, like, I'm going to hear certain voices. I'm going to hear that ball bounce. I'm going to hear early on, it was NBA on NBC. Then I'm going to hear ABC, right? And Mike Breed and Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. Excuse me. And then with the Lakers, they're going to be playing. You're going to see Kobe. And so when you have that from your middle school years, your high school years, your college years, your grad school years, your whole 20s, your 30s, you have this connection with the person. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they don't understand that, like, how can you be so affected by somebody you didn't know? Because with athletes, especially with men and athletes, we feel like we do know them. Like, I mean, Kobe, he was never my favorite player. I was actually pretty critical of his game when he was younger. His dude's shot selection was just awful. But the respect was there, and I knew he was a flat-out beast. I knew he was one of the greatest ever. And so, like, you take moves, though. Like, when you were playing pickup. Like, I remember playing pickup at IU in one game. I was just on fire at the SRSC. Like, I was cooking these niggas. And, like, there's a move Kobe did. Like, he had... This was 2003, so he was going on one of his scoring runs. He like shot faked and hit it behind his hip, and the person went past it, went up, boom. And I did that at the SRSC, not even like consciously, but because I had watched him do it so much, and I was in the zone, and I was feeling myself, and nigga shot fake, hit it behind my hip, dude flew past, went up, cashed that bitch, and like these people become a part of you. They literally become a part of you, because sports, specifically basketball, is rhythm, it's poetry, it's muscle memory, it's instincts. And if you keep watching something and you keep seeing something, eventually what that person was doing becomes a part of yourself. And so, like, that's why we fall in love with these athletes like that. And I don't know if there's too many athletes out there who could have stopped the world today like Kobe did. Because another part that makes it so difficult for a lot of us is that we didn't get to see retired Kobe. Like, if you go look at old pictures of Shaq, and you look at Shaq when he was playing with Kobe, and you look at Boston Celtics Shaq, and you look at Shaq when he first started on TNT, and you look at Shaq now, we got to see the transformation of Shaq, right? Same with Barkley, same with Jordan. Like, these dudes are on TV all the time. They are their retired versions of themselves. And so, like, especially Barkley, like, this nigga can't even fucking jump anymore. And when he was playing, he had crazy bounce, which is insane now to even think about. But I'm able to separate Sir Charles, the player, versus Charles Barkley, the goofy commentator, right? We didn't get a chance to do that with Kobe. We didn't get a chance to see retired Kobe. Right, he got a little bit bigger, but he still looked like somebody that if he really got after it, he could probably play. Like he could, if he went 3, 4, 5 months hard working out, he could probably still play, right? And so I think that's the toughest thing too, is like it was like he was still playing. He was still very fresh to us. It was still very fresh. Like, dude's going to get nominated and get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Excuse me, he already got nominated. He's going to get inducted in the Hall of Fame this year. And they just changed the rules. Like, they just changed the rules. It used to be you had to wait, I think, like 4 years after you got done playing or something like that, or 5 or 7 or 8. I can't remember. But they just changed it where now it's like 1. So Kobe and KG and Tim Duncan were going to be the first class. And so Um, he won't even get to see that. Like, we're gonna have to see Vanessa accept it. Someone else gonna have to give that speech. I can't remember in my lifetime a player who couldn't give their own Hall of Fame speech because they weren't here anymore, who was in their 40s. This man's 41, right? He might be one of the youngest inductees ever. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's one of those things that makes you question life, and it makes you question the purpose. It makes you question why are we even here? What are we doing here? For somebody that powerful, somebody that monumental to just not be here anymore. It's a very, very difficult thing to take in. It's a very tough pill to swallow. It's sad, man. I wish nothing but the best for his family. Wish nothing but the best for not just his wife and his kids, but his parents. Like, they lost a child, right? Like my aunt and my cousin Jerusha, who I talked about before. My aunt lost a child, right? People that lose children, that's a whole nother pain. You know, he's grown. He's 41. That's still their baby. It's the only boy they had. Literally, now I think about it, because I don't think he had any nephews. Maybe, I'm not sure. So let me not jump to conclusions on that. But from the Joe Jelly Bean Bryant bloodline, right? When you look at his son Kobe, there's 4 girls. Like, so this is the the masculine energy of the family. They lost that. They lost that. And I was telling my girl, I was thinking about like Kanye, how Kanye feels guilt. He's talked about this, about his mom's death, because he moved to LA, and LA is a very superficial place, and his mom moved out there too, and so she started feeling like she needed to get surgery and stuff like that, so she went and got the liposuction, whatever it was, and that ended up being her demise. I just think from his parents, and I hope they're not thinking this, but this possibly could be a thought of theirs, like they could be thinking like, okay, my son's no longer here. Why is my son and my granddaughter no longer here? Well, they were on a helicopter. Why are they on a helicopter? Well, because they live in LA. Okay, why didn't they just drive? Because they're rich. Traffic's bad. Well, why are they rich? Well, because I played in the NBA, and we taught him to work hard. I hope they're not thinking like that, but it would be understandable if they are. And if they ever listen to this, like, your son was a person who was a role model to billions of people. His work ethic, his dedication to his craft, the fact that he's a student of the game, stuff we talk about all the time, is something that I haven't seen matched in any other industry. And I think because he's an athlete, we got to see it more so firsthand, behind the scenes, than anybody else. So don't ever think, Mr. and Mrs. Bryant, that you had anything to do with this. I mean, it was just God's time, God's plan for Kobe and Gianna, which is crazy. If you know anybody that's lost a kid, or anybody that's lost somebody recently, wrap your hands around them, wrap your arms around them. I told my staff today, like, I couldn't do that meeting. Pick up the phone and call people you got beefs with. And for me, like, I got people I'm not talking to. I'll be transparent. Like, I'm not talking to my dad right now. And this didn't make me want to call him. Previous things have happened that have made me want to call him when he and I weren't speaking. But this wasn't going to change anything in my mind. And it's not that I'm bitter towards him. I just need him to take care of himself. And if he takes care of himself, then he and I can have a realistic conversation. And Kobe Bryant's family isn't going to affect my family like that. But I'm okay with that, right? I went through all the emotions. I went through all the thoughts. I went through all the scenarios of what could possibly happen, and would I be okay for the most part. Like, obviously, I know if anything bad happens, I don't know how I'm going to react 100%, but I have a 60% feel of like, okay, I'll be able to go through this, right? I won't be wondering what if or why didn't I. I won't wonder about that. But for those of you that are in those scenarios or in that position right now, you need to pick up the phone. You need to pick up the phone. You need to call a person. You need to let that shit go, whatever it is. You need to, if it's somebody that you think about every day, if it's somebody you want to talk every day to every day, if you feel like it's a void missing in your life every day, because of this contention you have with that other person, you need to end that. You need to end that, because I've been in that situation before, and you need to end it. You need to be the bigger person. As much as that sucks, because I know it sucks, especially when they're at fault. Just do it, right? I know people thinking like, well, why don't you do it with your dad? Because I don't feel a void. I don't feel a void. I don't feel like I'm really missing anything, because I had my dad every day, my entire life. So I know what I'm dealing with, and I know what I'm missing, and what I'm missing isn't enough for me to be like, you know what, let me pick up the phone. Because he could easily call me. It's not like he's called me and I haven't answered. Like, it's nothing like that. So that easily could happen. We could talk, you know what I mean? But I'm not. I was having this conversation this weekend randomly with a random person at a birthday game night, which was terrible, by the way. It wasn't terrible. It was just like, no, I had a good time. It just was very unorganized, the games. And people start drinking, and I'm not drinking right now because y'all know I'm fasting and all that. But I was having this conversation. I was just like my dad knows what he needs to do. And if he don't want to do it, that's fine. But I'm not about to be the person that tries to force him to do anything. It's like I had to let the idea die of what my father used to mean to me when I was younger, right? Like when you grow up with your dad, specifically as a male, there's this vision that you have, this relationship you have with your dad, and it grows and it progresses and it blooms. And the peak of it between he and I was probably when I was 21, 22. Like, he was a very consistent person in my life, and he was reliable and all that stuff. Then once I got like 23, and it just started getting shaky. And then once like he and I got to where we are now, I was just to the point like, yo, I realized that I was trying to hold on to something that was no longer there. And it wasn't no longer like he didn't love me. My dad loves me more than anything. He loves me and my sister more than anything in this world. And we know that. But it was just like he has evolved as a person. And for some reason, he's not comfortable showing emotions like he used to be, or showing or his actions and his emotions aren't consistent with each other anymore. And I had to be like, okay, well, you know what? Since that's no longer who you are, and you were like that with me for 30 plus years, for me to come back, I have to take a step back, and I have to realize that I can't force you to do anything you don't want to do. And so that's where I'm at with it. That's why I'm okay. That's why I don't have to pick up the phone. That's why I'm not going to call him. I just don't need to, because I honestly don't know what I'm dealing with if I did pick up the phone. And on top of all of that, I don't need anything, any sort of unvariables. I don't need any sort of variables to rock me emotionally where I'm not the best father to my daughter. You know what I mean? And so that's the most important thing to me. I don't care who you are. Mom, dad, sister, friends, cousin. You want some bullshit that can rock me emotionally where I might not have control? I'm not giving my daughter that energy. She don't deserve that. She's 7 months. So we're going to take a break right there. So a lot of y'all have been asking us about opportunities to run ads in the podcast. So if you want to do that, it's $100. Make it very easy. $100. Hit us up. Dorian Group 82 on Instagram. $100 to do that. If you want an IG shout out, which people have hit us up, they hit us up today, actually. It's going to be $50. So you want to add on the podcast, it's going to be $100. So shout out your company. Do a 30-second spot. You want an IG shout out, it's going to be $50. These are extremely cheap prices right now. So I'm telling you, this is the best value you're going to get with us. It's probably the best value you can get in any podcast or any social media accounts that are doing what we're doing as far as the traffic and how we're bringing people in. So you can take advantage. $100 at Dorian Group 82 or $50 for IG shout out at DorianGroup82.com. That's actually not the website. Group82music.com at Dorian Group 82 on Instagram. Get it done. We're back. Part 2 of the episode. Going to pick it up a little bit. I know the first half was a little depressing, but I mean, had to talk about how I felt. Shout out to Kobe and his family, man. Rest in peace, brother. As y'all that are watching on YouTube right now can see that one of these bands that I talked about before are coming off. Little bitch. Oh well, I'll deal with it later. Shout out Kobe and his family. But one thing I want to talk to y'all about, man, one thing that we can really learn from this situation is work ethic. And if y'all know anything about Kobe, his work ethic was unreal. I mean, the dude, he's done interviews, man, where he talks about like how he broke down his opponents. Like even when he was talking about when Kevin Durant first came into the league, like he saw Kevin Durant, he got this 6'9" shooting guard. He was just like, man, what the fuck is this? He was like, how am I going to stop him? And this dude, Kevin Durant, averaged 20 as a rookie. And Kobe really started studying his game. He said at first he was having trouble because KD was so long and he could really jump. But he started paying attention to his game. He was like, okay, I see that when he catches the ball on his left shoulder, he always swings below his knee, goes right and pulls right up, right? But I haven't seen him catch the ball on the right shoulder and swing and go to his left dribble and pull up. So Kobe started like blocking off when KD would catch the ball on his left shoulder. Kobe started really blocking off his right side and forcing KD left, right? Because KD couldn't do that yet. He started looking at directions KD spun, right? Is he spinning left all times? Is he spinning right on the post-ups? How often does he face up? And where's he doing it on these spots on the floor? So that made Kobe a much better defender of Kevin Durant, because he's able to figure this out. The reason he did that, and he was able to figure it out, is because he studied the game. He studied tape. He really watched. When I was coaching at Montverde, this was in 2009, 2010, 2011, Kobe used to have his skills academies. And the skills academies, what they were. So at that time, what Nike did is they would take the top 100 players in the country, high school players, and they would have a point guard skills academy, which at the time it was Chris Paul. They have the top two, so they take the top 20 point guards, send them to Chris Paul's camp. They take the top 20 shooting guards, send the Kobe's. They took the top 20 small forwards. I forgot who it was. I know it wasn't KD. I can't remember who it was. They took the top 20 power forwards. I think it was still KG. And they would send them there. No, it was Amari. And then they would have all of them plus the other 20 come to the final camp, which would be the LeBron James Skills Academy. And so, like, that's where Jordan Crawford dunked on LeBron, because Jordan Crawford was in college and he was a counselor. They had it set up really well. And so Coach Sutton, who I coached with at Montverde, he was one of the coaches at these skills academies. So he would go and he would be with Kobe and LeBron and all that. And so after the camp, sometimes even before, Kobe had to make sure he got his own work in. Kobe would go and work out. Kobe would literally put shoes on the court of where defenders would be so he could visualize it. Like, you're talking just like 2 pairs of shoes, like just empty shoes on the court, right, lined up in certain areas. So he made sure that he had game angles while he was going through his workout. He took the maniacal and fanatical approach to a craft like very few that I have seen in anything, let alone basketball. And one thing I learned in business specifically, that's how you have to be. Whatever it is that you do. Like, I got a bunch of video editing interns right now, and some of them are probably watching this, and that's how they have to be with their craft. You have to be maniacal and fanatical to the point where you are visualizing your hurdles and your obstacles consistently. That way, when they arise, you can fight through it because you've already mentally been there. Like I've told y'all before, I've already interviewed on The Breakfast Club. I've already interviewed at Hot 97. I've already accepted my Grammys. I've already performed in front of 100,000 people. I've already given speeches in front of 15, 25,000 people. It's all already happened. I've already been a billionaire, right? I've already been a leader of a company that has 5,000 employees, and I'm the CEO, and we have an entire campus. I've already done these things. It's all here. It just hasn't manifested yet because I know that I need to be mentally prepared. And I learned that from watching Kobe and listening to the things that he would talk about. He was one of the people that I pulled that stuff from, and especially like the second chapter of his life, that what he's done with Mamba, not the sports academy, but with his production company. He was taking the exact same approach. And so anybody who's in business, anybody's in entrepreneurship, you have to do that stuff. Like, you have to be maniacal with your approach. You absolutely have to be, which a lot of people aren't, which causes them to not be innovative, and it also causes them to get stagnant and their company doesn't grow. And so people wonder why they don't have success. People wonder why they don't have an opportunity to express themselves the way they want to. They're not financially free. They're not living in their dreams. Are you being maniacal with your approach? Are you being fanatical with your approach? Are you living, dreaming, eating this shit? Like, is this what you're truly doing? Or are you just going through the motions? If you really ask yourself that, like, are you going through the motions? Can you look yourself in the mirror? The answer is probably yes. The one thing I really like about my fast is every year, the first 90 days, y'all know no meat, no alcohol, no fried food. First thing I like about it is I lose weight. So that's always a good thing for me. But second thing I like about it is that people ask questions. And when they ask, I tell them, I'm like, well, you want to do it? Join me. They say, okay. And it's always interesting to see how many people join you, but they can never stick to it. Like, they can never, ever, ever stick to it. Like, they lack the self-discipline. They lack the work ethic to not eat meat, to not drink liquor, to not eat fried food. I mean, that shit is not that hard, man. It sounds hard to some of y'all because y'all probably eat fried all day and you have a beer 3 times a week, or you drink a glass of wine, or you go out on the weekends, you got to drink. You don't have to do that shit. It's a level of self-discipline that isn't much. And the reason I like doing it is because I'm able to put myself in that frame of mind where I know, like, if I can do this, I can do practically anything. Right? Like, you got to practice self-discipline, man. You got to put yourself in positions where you have to be disciplined, because you're going to need that discipline. You're going to need that discipline, whether it's showing up to work on time at 5 o'clock in the morning for 6 days in a row, right? Whether it's driving an hour somewhere to pick up some shit consistently, whether it's something with your kids that might happen down the road. Like, you're going to need that discipline. And if you've never built that muscle up before, it's very difficult to ask that muscle to give you maximum exertion at the level that you need in order to execute whatever activity it is if it's never been worked, right? Like, if you don't do squats ever, you can't ask your glutes and your hamstrings and your ass to go in there and squat 315. Somebody says, hey, you squatted 315 pounds, I'm gonna give you $50,000. You're not gonna be able to do it. You never worked those muscles. It's the same thing with self-discipline. Self-discipline allows you to work muscles in life. And you get to do it through trial and error. So little things like your diet or like your workout routine. And for some of y'all drink coffee every day. Like, go a month without drinking coffee. 30 days, no coffee. 30 days, no sweets. 30 something. Like, only you know, right? That's another thing about when I fast. Like, people always try to tell me, like, oh, you should do this or you shouldn't have to do that. Like, listen, it ain't about that. It's about me. It ain't about what other people are telling me what I should do, or, man, you should do this. It's about me, man. This is what I need. I love chicken, fried food, right? I love meat, right? The alcohol thing is not that bad anymore for me, but hey, that's something. Like, when I go out and I kick it, okay, now I'm not drinking. So I'm looking at the party from a different perspective, right? I'm looking at the social interactions from a different perspective. I'm able to analyze, especially since I make music. This is really cool. I'm able to go to the club. Like, I went to the Address out here in Houston, which is a hookah bar / club. That motherfucker was rocking too. And I'm in there sober as shit. We're in a section, but I'm able to see how these songs are reacting, how people in the club are reacting to these songs, which helps me as an artist. And when you're drunk and you're doing it, you see it. But sometimes when you're drunk, you get those fake endorphins, that enhancement where you think something's really rocking, but it ain't, right? When you sober, you can see it. You can see it in everybody's eyes. You see who's looking at you. You see who's like, you see what they're doing, how they're interacting. And that makes me a better songwriter. And so, but that's what I need. That's what I need. Like, I can't tell you what you need. I don't know what you need. I don't know what is the secret sauce for you that is going to make you become a more disciplined person. But you know. You think you don't, but you do. What's the thing that you know you do too much of? Like, it was another get together I went to, and we were talking about my fast, because it's always a topic of conversation too. People want to talk about shit. And she was just like this girl, married woman, call her woman. And we were having really deep conversations, like a group convo. And she was talking about, I don't know what I can fast from because there's nothing that I do that much. I said, there's some that you do that you know you need to cut back on. She was like, I mean, I guess dance, because she was like a professional dancer or something. I'm like, you're gassing yourself. Like you're gassing yourself. She wasn't in tune with who she was. She's lying to herself. Like, and that's what happens when you become adults. And that's the great thing when you see babies go from babies to adults. It's like babies are so them. They're just so raw and emotionally them. Like everything that they do is genuine, right? And as you get older, because of society, because of insecurities, because of selfishness, you become a shell of who you were. And the next thing you know, you have this entire fortified wall around your true personality, and you're just living out this character. And once you start living out the character for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, like people, especially my age, like 35, because the character probably comes into play for real, around 25, 26. So at 35, you got a decade of experience as that character. And like I told you on previous podcasts, like you learn to mesh your professional facade with your personality, like who you are as a person. So once you get to your 30s, you're that character that you usually say for the professional facade is now being meshed with who you really are. And you factor in relationships, you factor in just natural maturation, you factor in friendships that you no longer have, clubs you no longer go to, things you don't want to do anymore. And now you create this shell of who you think you are. And it's really about how people perceive you. And you no longer are in tune with who you are. And therefore, you can't do things like understand what you need to fast from. You can't sit down and just meditate because you are scared of your own fucking thoughts. That was a big thing for me when I was dating. It was like, if a woman told me she couldn't meditate, I wanted nothing to do with her. Nothing. Because if you can't meditate, like I said, you're scared of your own thoughts. Why in the fuck would I want to be in a relationship with somebody who's scared of their own thoughts? Why would I want to live with somebody who is scared of their own thoughts? Why would I do that? Why would I want to have kids with somebody who is scared of their own thoughts? You're scared of what's going on in your head. You control that. You control your thoughts. You don't control everything on your subconscious, but you control majority of your thoughts. And you definitely control how your thoughts affect your actions and what you do. You're so scared of it that you can't sit down for 5 minutes. You got to be scrolling on IG. You got to be watching TV. You got to be listening to music. You got to be listening to a podcast. You got to be having some mindless conversation with people because you're scared of your own thoughts. You ever met anybody that just like always has to have music on? You ever met anybody who can't stand any sort of silence? You ever met anybody who would rather just talk about bullshit than anything worthwhile? Because they're scared of their own thoughts. You stay away from motherfuckers like that because they're going to get you caught up because life is real. Life is really real. And you need people who are okay with who they are. You can't surround yourself with a bunch of strangers. People that are strangers to themselves. That's the most dangerous combination you can get. That's why, as I've gotten older, I don't have a lot of new male friends. I'll take a drink of water. Damn, couldn't get the cap on. The reason I don't have a lot of new male friends is because I need to know where you come from. I need to know how you built. I need to know how you handle adversity. I need to know if you're comfortable with yourself. Because an insecure woman, you can, as a man, you can kind of like deal with that, like you get used to that, especially if y'all in a romantic scenario, right? You can actually help her with that. You can balance that. With the insecure man, you can't do nothing with that. Like, obviously, I'm not romantic with men, so I don't know the dynamic with that, but I'm talking from a friendship perspective. If that nigga got his insecurities, he's just going to be doing some fucked up shit, and you can try to talk to him about it, but he might not want to have a conversation That might not be what he is. He might not have had real man-to-man conversations with anybody, with his dad or with his uncle, or maybe he did have conversations with people like that, and it might have led to him being molested. So therefore, he's on edge about that. That's what I'm saying. I gotta know how you built. Or maybe he might have had a male-to-male conversation that was deep, and it led to that dude stealing his girl or getting somebody locked up. I gotta know how you built, man. And when you in your 30s, man, it's very difficult to figure out how a motherfucker is built. Where you like, you know what, I can rock with him. He's cool. Like, I would trust him around my family if I wasn't around. He's somebody that would do the right thing. Niggas be having secret lives, man. Like, niggas that have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a toy poodle and a fish tank and a wife and 3 kids, and on the weekend, this nigga's selling dope out of his apartment downtown with 2 other chicks that live there. Like, niggas be having whole other lives, and you wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? So that's why you got to be comfortable with people. Only be comfortable with people who can sit with their own thoughts. People that are transparent, people that are open. That doesn't mean everybody's going to talk or be articulate or be able to, they're going to be great communicators, because that's just not realistic neither. But what happens is you do get people who, even if they can't express themselves verbally, their actions are extremely consistent. Which takes me back to my dad, right? Which I wanted to expound on a little bit more. Like, that was the number one thing I respected about him. He was very consistent with his actions. And once that stopped happening, I was like, oh, I gotta start treating you like everybody else. I can't. You being inconsistent with your actions is gonna cause me to try to correct that. And if it's just a friend, or it's just an associate, or it's just somebody who I'm like, you know what? I don't need this relationship to be that deep where I can cause contention because I'm uncomfortable with you not being consistent with your words or your actions. I'll just let it ride. Like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. When it's a family member, like, I have to deal with you consistently. So if you're going to say you're going to do something, you need to do it. Or you're not going to do it. Well, I'm going to tell you about yourself, because I don't treat you like that. And if you want to give me resistance because of that, you're giving me resistance because I'm asking you to be the person you said that you were going to be. I'm asking you to do the things that you said that you were going to do, just like I do for you. You ask me to do something, I do it. I say I'm going to do something, I show up, and I do it. I'm consistent. I'm asking for reciprocity. And you're getting mad at me for that, for asking for reciprocity. I can't fuck with you. And I don't think that's unreasonable. Call me ignorant, call me intolerant, call me impatient, call me whatever the fuck you want to. If you can't give me what I give you on basic shit like reciprocity, why are we here? Why am I doing this? There's no robbery in fair exchange. If I say I'm going to show up and do something, and I do it for you, and then you say you're going to show up and do something and you don't do it for me, why should I accept that? Why should I just be like, you know what, that's cool, that's fine. I don't have no problems with that. That's horse shit. Nobody should have to deal with that. I feel like in relationships, a lot of women deal with that. I feel like a lot of women give men passes. I feel like a lot of women are like, well, it's okay. Nah, it's not okay. And don't get me wrong, niggas ain't perfect. Women ain't perfect. You got to be able to forgive people. But some people continue to do the same shit over and over and over again. Or if they do fucked up shit, but it keeps coming back home, it keeps getting to you, like, that shows a level of recklessness that I don't think that you should be in a relationship with somebody who does that, who is that reckless. Like, if you're going to do dirt, or you're going to do something that's not right, or you're going to make a mistake, right? And you know it's a part of your personality and something that you're working through. You can't let it affect your people who you really love. You can't let it affect your family. You just can't let it do that. And a lot of people do that. And as a woman, you have to be conscious of that, because y'all are the incubators for the children. The children grow inside of you. So they accept and they're consumed by every emotion that mommy feels first. And I think it's still like that once they come out the womb. And with girls, they start gravitating towards their daddies and they start feeling that. But I think women and girls will always feel mom's emotion first. Like this whole situation with Kobe, talking about this episode, a lot of women are feeling for Vanessa. That's the first thing that they're feeling, like husband and daughter. Like they're feeling the loss of that, as opposed to what we're feeling as men is like one of our heroes, right? Got taken at 41 and didn't a father and then all. So I feel like women are more in tune with their emotions. And so as a woman, if you're in tune with your emotions and you feel something, if you ain't got no proof, that's one thing, right? You can't get mad at him for that. But when you start getting proof and it's consistent and it's reckless, you can't plan your life around somebody like that. You can't do that. This nigga has, not only does he have no regard for your home and your emotional well-being, this nigga ain't got no finesse game. Like, he don't know how to protect himself. He don't know how to get himself out of fucked up situations. He don't know how to make sure that shit don't come home. Like, that is a part of being a man. I'm not saying part of being a man is protecting dirt. I'm saying part of being a man is like being a hustler, being able to be like, hold on, that's a fucked up situation. Let me go over here, right? Or maybe we might have to wrestle with the pigs for a little bit, but I'm going to wrestle with the pigs. I'm going to make sure I'm going to win. I'm going to wrestle with the pigs, and when I wrestle with the pigs, I need you to make sure that you make that the other pigs ain't coming in, or you robbing they what do pigs say in a playpen? You robbing the playpen while I'm in here wrestling. Like, you got to be able to finesse that shit. Like, that's part of being a man. That's part of it. We're constantly analyzing situations. We're constantly looking around. We're constantly looking like, okay, that's a threat. That's not a threat. Okay, boom. Let me not go up this escalator. Let me take these steps. Like I told y'all before, like there's times I've been on elevators. White woman, her baby, nah. Let me go another route. I'm not doing that. That's part of being a man. Analyzing shit. That's why when people say like black men don't protect black women, I think that's the biggest crock of shit ever. If you think black men do not protect black women, you have no idea what a black man thinks about all day, every day. You don't have any close relationships with black men to the point where they feel comfortable enough with you to trust you with everything that is on their minds, the concerns and the worries. That's all we fucking do is protect the people that we love. That's all we do. How many times have you been walking with your dude and you just looking at stores, you looking at the scenery or whatnot, and he just grabs your arm and he says, hold up. And y'all just start walking. And he was like, what? And then he don't say nothing. And then he says, all right. And then y'all keep walking again. And you're like, what happened? He says, nothing. You know why he did that? Because he felt a threat. There was probably a dude that was walking behind y'all for probably 5, 6, 7 seconds too long, directly behind y'all. And y'all might have made some turns or whatnot, and he just was right there. And your dude wanted to make sure that that dude was going to walk past y'all and not try no funny shit. You ever been driving the car with your dude and y'all going home? Y'all take the same route every time, but all of a sudden he's going a different route home this time. He makes a few extra turns. And you wonder why he going this way? Because he might think a car is telling y'all. And he's trying to make sure that the car ain't telling y'all. So he start taking other routes and turning here, turning to this gas station, let me do this whoop-de-whoop to make sure these motherfuckers ain't following us. Make sure these motherfuckers don't feel like they got hit with a lick. Or think that they hit a lick. I'm sorry. And you might have, you like one of them old firecracker ass niggas. Like that nigga might just go straight to the glove compartment and as a man, these are things you got to be conscious of. You get taught that at a very young age. I'm constantly surveying areas, constantly looking around, constantly making sure our stuff's protected, constantly, like that's part of it. Second nature, that's being a man. So when y'all say black men don't protect black women, if you're a black woman and you saying that, you don't have any close relationships with black men. It's beyond disrespectful to say some shit like that. Like very, very, very disrespectful to say some shit like that. Because black women, if y'all weren't being protected by us, y'all be dead by now. That's just sexism. Like, this country is sexist. And so since this country is sexist, they would have gotten rid of all the black women. That would have happened. They wanted to get rid of all the niggas. You think they would have got rid of you? And if we're not protecting you, who is? The white man won't protect you. Neither was the white woman or the Asian man or the Asian woman, or Hispanic woman or Hispanic man. It's the black man. The black man's been protecting you, just like every other race. Stop saying that shit. But the reason y'all say that is because you don't have any close relationships with black men. Or if you do, you just put them in that one pocket. Like, well, that's my granddaddy, that's my pawpaw, or that's my dad, or that's my brother. Well, damn it, that's who's supposed to be protecting you. Like, and on top of that, you don't know how many random niggas in your lifetime have been looking at you from afar, 40, 50 yards away, and he's seen some shit, and he just wanted to make sure that he just had his attention on you, and he just wanted to make sure that shit that he saw that might have been a threat didn't fuck with you. And because that threat didn't fuck with you, you never even met that dude or talked to that dude. I've done that hundreds of times in my life. I've seen black women walking by themselves, white women too, seen them walking by themselves, and I've seen some dude that looks sketchy, or some might be a crackhead or something, or I just seen something that's just a fucked up energy. I'm like, hold on, let me make sure that he don't try no shit. And I just look and look and look, and then that dude walks off, and I see her walk off, get in the car, and then boom, I go about my merry way. I have protected thousands of women like that. It's what you get taught to do. It's part of being a man. It's not even taught, it's primal. It's who we are. So if you think men aren't protecting you, you're wrong. You couldn't be more wrong. And start asking the men in your life if they doing the things that I say. Start asking if they've ever done this shit. Not just for you, but for random people. You'll be surprised. And they give you the opportunity to really learn the things that we go through and why things like Kobe's death affects us differently than it might affect you. And why we study our crafts at the level that we do. And why we really dig deep, and why we get fanatical and maniacal about certain things. All this stuff stems from the same primal energy that exists inside of us. So I appreciate y'all taking this ride with me tonight. At Dwayne Group 82 on all social media. Group82music.com is the website. We got more content coming, got more episodes coming. Please engage. Please write in the comments. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. And I respond to every single comment on all platforms. What topics you want us to hit too. And obviously you guys want to call in. We're always open for that too. So rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant. Rest in peace, Gianna Bryant. Rest in peace to the other family members and teammates that were on that plane, on that helicopter. And hope y'all enjoyed this one. I love y'all. I'm at the pond. Y'all stay true.
Group82music.com.